My wife had an affair with my best friend, then told me I could date other women to save our marriage, while we still lived together with our kids. I never thought I'd be here, writing this. My wife and I have been together for 17 years. We have 3 beautiful kids. When I was younger, I dreamed of the kind of marriage where I'd come home to one woman, grow old with her, and spend my days content. And for so long, I thought I had that. She was my dream girl. But now, my reality feels like it has been shattered beyond repair. Let me start from the beginning. Over the years, there were 2 times I caught my wife being unfaithful. One was an on and off affair with her married coworker that went on for years. The other was a fling with her high school ex when she visited her family out of state. I know what you're probably thinking. Why didn't you leave her? Believe me, I asked myself that too. But after some time apart, I forgave her, twice. I grew up in a broken home, and I didn't want the same for our kids. I told myself we were young back then, people make mistakes. And for a while, things really did seem okay. I never fully trusted her, but I wanted to. I pushed down my doubts because I believed in the clean slate we both said we wanted. Fast forward to 4 years later, I thought we were stronger. We had plans for our future, goals for our family, and happiness I thought was real. Then, 2 months ago, everything came crashing down, worse than I ever could have imagined. It started with a message. Not from my wife, but from my best friend's wife. Let me say this up front, I never saw this coming. This friend and I worked together for years. My wife knew him in passing, but it's not like we all hung out as couples. My wife used to bring coffee to my workplace, sometimes bringing one for him too. She'd mention him here and there, nothing too alarming at first. But there were little things I should have paid attention to. She'd dress up more on days she knew he'd be around. She convinced me to get him a joint birthday present and even pushed for us to take him out for drinks. I made jokes to her about how she seemed unusually interested in him, and she always laughed it off. I didn't think much of it. This guy had a solid marriage, or so I thought. And he was my friend. I trusted them both. That trust was misplaced. The screenshots I received from his wife painted the full picture. They were having a full-blown affair. I was stunned. I couldn't confront her right away because I needed proof, concrete evidence. So I dug. I looked through phone logs, credit card statements, everything. And what I found made me sick. They were sneaking off to hotels when my wife claimed she was working overtime. He'd leave work to visit her at her job, nearly every day for a month. They were even planning a weekend getaway right before they got caught. When I finally confronted them, there were no lies. They admitted to everything. My friend was gone from my life immediately. My wife? She broke down, apologized over and over again, blaming herself and saying she got carried away. Her words. I felt like we were drifting apart, and he was just there. He treated his wife so well, and I envied that. I didn't know how to end it once it started. I couldn't even process it. This woman, who I spent nearly 2 decades building a life with, betrayed me again. Here's where it gets messy. Neither of us can afford to move out right now. Houses in our area are absurdly expensive, and her family lives states away. So here we are, sharing a home, raising our kids like everything is normal while I'm completely broken inside. And here's the kicker, she's now offering me an open marriage. She tells me I can see other women casually as long as I come home to her. She says she won't see it as cheating. I told her this isn't what I ever wanted, this isn't a marriage. But she's desperate. She's pleading with me, saying we can't break up the family, that the kids shouldn't live in a broken home. She's hellbent on holding this family together, even when it feels like it has been falling apart for years. I don't even know what to feel anymore. I love her, but it's a love built on shared time, shared kids, not romantic love. My self-esteem is in the gutter. She's beautiful, out of my league some would say, but I don't think that's enough to stay anymore. How can I trust her? I forgave her before, but this isn't a single mistake. It's a pattern. And now, I question everything. Have there been more affairs I don't know about? I'm stuck. I feel like a fool. I'm angry, heartbroken, and lost. She says she loves me and doesn't want to lose everything we've built, but didn't she think about that when she was sneaking around with my friend? I know there are probably people reading this thinking, you're an idiot. And honestly, I can't even argue with you. My life is a complete mess, and I have no idea how to move forward. Update 1. I spent days trying to keep myself together, but I couldn't live like this anymore. Living in the same house as my wife, seeing her every day, pretending things were okay for the kids, it was eating me alive. I don't know what's worse, the betrayal or the fact that I'm stuck here, face to face with the person who tore our family apart, as if nothing happened. After finding out about the affair with my friend, I confronted her again. This time, I didn't hold back. I laid everything out, every detail I had, all the screenshots, call logs, and receipts. I wanted to see her face when there was no way out of it. No room for excuses or half-truths. I don't know what I expected, maybe for her to break down and admit she ruined everything, maybe for her to at least show me the kind of guilt someone feels when they've stabbed the person they claimed to love in the back. Instead, she sat there, silent at first, with tears in her eyes, but not the kind I believed anymore. The thing is, when someone apologizes to you over and over again for the same kind of betrayal, it stops meaning anything. The words "I'm sorry" hit me like nails on a chalkboard. They don't fix anything, and they certainly don't make me feel better. I asked her how long it had been going on. She admitted it lasted about 2 months, but the emotional connection? That started earlier. We just clicked, she said, like that somehow made it better. As if two people who click have no control over themselves or their decisions. I pressed her on why it had to be him, my friend. Did she even think about what that would do to me? She said she didn't go looking for it, but once it started, she didn't know how to stop. At this point, my head was spinning. She wasn't angry, she wasn't defensive, but the calmness in her voice made me even angrier. I told her straight up that I don't trust her, that her word means nothing to me now. I asked her if there were any other times she cheated that I didn't know about. She swore up and down there weren't, but I don't believe her. How could I? Her track record speaks for itself. The worst part of all of this is how she keeps bringing up the kids. She's clinging to the idea that we can keep the family together for them, like saying that will make me magically forget everything she's done. I asked her if she seriously thinks our kids are better off in a house where their dad is miserable and their parents are clearly broken. She says that's better than splitting up. Kids deserve to have both their parents under the same roof, she said, like she was quoting a family drama movie. I snapped. I told her that she is the reason we're here. She is the one who risked everything we built together. And now she has the audacity to act like I'm the one who's going to destroy the family because I won't keep playing along in this fantasy? I couldn't look at her anymore, so I left the house and sat in my car for hours. Here's the real kicker. The next morning, she started pushing the idea of an open marriage again, saying it's the compromise that can fix everything. She keeps repeating that I can go see other women, that I can do whatever I want, as long as I come home to her. I told her that's not how I work, that I never wanted that kind of marriage and I still don't. The thought of being with someone else while calling her my wife makes me sick. But she won't drop it. She's in desperation mode now, doing everything she can to convince me to stay. She started cooking elaborate meals and leaving me little notes, like we're some happy couple starting over. I don't know who she thinks she's fooling, but it's not me. She even brought up going to counseling, saying we owe it to the kids to at least try. Here's the thing, there's no trying when you've shattered the trust. The foundation of our marriage is cracked beyond repair, and no amount of therapy can glue that back together. What is there even to fix at this point? She's already betrayed me 3 times, and for all I know, there are more betrayals I haven't uncovered yet. This isn't one bad mistake, it's a pattern. How do you come back from that? Every time I look at her, I feel sick. I start thinking about the hotels, the lunch breaks, the planning behind my back. The fact that she shared something so personal with him while coming home to me, acting like everything was fine. I keep replaying moments in my head, times when I trusted her completely, times when I probably looked like the biggest idiot in the world without realizing it. And as much as I hate to admit it, my self-esteem is at an all-time low. I know I'm no prize. I'm not the guy women turn their heads for, and deep down I think part of me stayed because I always thought she was out of my league. I feel pathetic even typing that out, but it's the truth. Maybe I thought I couldn't do better. Maybe I thought this was as good as life gets. But now, I don't even know who she is anymore, and I sure as hell don't know what she wants from me. At the same time, I feel trapped. Trapped by our house, by the kids, by the fact that we can't financially afford to split up right now. I've been looking at apartments nearby, but even the cheapest ones are out of reach unless I somehow double my income overnight. I've thought about moving in with a family member temporarily, but I don't want to uproot my kids more than necessary. I feel like I'm walking through quicksand. No matter what I do, I can't move forward. The other day, I asked her how she thinks we're supposed to live like this, because I sure as hell can't pretend everything's fine. She said she'll do whatever it takes to earn back my trust, but here's the thing, I don't think I want her to. I don't want to spend the next however many years wondering if every late night or phone call is another lie. I don't want to keep playing detective in my own marriage, constantly waiting for the next betrayal. I know people will say, just leave her, but it's not that simple. When you've been with someone for nearly 2 decades, when you've built a life and a family together, walking away feels like losing everything. But at the same time, staying feels like losing myself. I don't even know who I am anymore. Am I the guy who forgives again because I'm afraid of starting over? Am I the guy who stays for the kid's sake, knowing I'll be miserable? Or am I the guy who finally decides he deserves better, even if it means walking away from the only life I've ever known? Right now, I don't have the answers. All I know is I can't keep living like this. The house feels suffocating, every conversation feels fake, and I can't look at her without feeling betrayed all over again. I need time to think, to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. She's been hovering around me like a shadow, acting like the perfect wife, but it's too little, too late. I don't know what my next move is, but I do know this, I can't keep pretending. Update 2. This will be my last post. I've spent the past few weeks trying to sort through the absolute mess my life became, and I think I finally have a path forward. It's not perfect, it's not easy, but I've come to terms with what needs to happen. After my last update, I had a serious talk with my wife, one that I didn't hold back on. I told her exactly how I felt, no sugarcoating, no holding back for her sake. I laid out that I was done. Done with the constant betrayal, done with the fake apologies, and done pretending for the sake of keeping up appearances. I told her I couldn't trust her, and without trust, there is no marriage. Her tears came immediately, but at that point, I felt numb. I had nothing left to give. She went on about how she still loves me, how she's changed and will spend the rest of her life proving it to me. She brought up the kids again, insisting that splitting up would ruin their lives. That's when I stopped her. I told her flat out that staying in this marriage just because of the kids would do more harm than good. I grew up in a broken home, and I know what it's like to live in a house where everything feels fake. Kids aren't stupid, they pick up on tension, on silence, on resentment. I won't let my kids think this is what a marriage should look like. Then she hit me with the final Hail Mary. She said she'd agree to anything to keep us together. She begged me to take her back under any conditions, even bringing up the open marriage thing again, like it was some golden solution to all our problems. She said I could see other women, I could do whatever I wanted, and she wouldn't hold it against me. That was the moment I realized just how far she was willing to go to keep me, and it disgusted me. That's not love. That's desperation. I told her no. I said I wasn't interested in an arrangement or a band-aid for our broken marriage. I wasn't willing to compromise my values just because she wanted to feel less guilty. That's not the kind of relationship I want, and that's not the kind of man I want to be. So, here's where we stand now. We've agreed to separate. It's not a clean break, things are messy and complicated, as you'd expect when you've spent nearly 2 decades with someone. I won't pretend like I'm not scared. I have no idea what life is going to look like without her. I won't lie to you or myself, I still have feelings for her. Maybe it's just the weight of the years we spent together, maybe it's the fact that we have 3 kids, or maybe I'm still holding on to the version of her I loved before all of this. But that woman doesn't exist anymore. Right now, we're still living in the same house, which is probably the hardest part. I've been sleeping in the guest room, and we're basically co-parenting under one roof until I can figure out my next move. I'm saving money to move out. It'll take time, but I'm determined to make it work. I've also spoken to a lawyer to figure out the logistics of custody, finances, and what separating will look like legally. It is overwhelming, but I need to do this the right way, for myself and for my kids. As for my kids, I'm doing everything I can to shield them from the ugliness of this situation. They don't know all the details, and they don't need to. What they do need is for both of their parents to show up for them. I've made it clear to my wife that we need to be civil for their sake, no matter what's happened between us. I won't let our issues ruin their childhood. The hardest part has been losing my friend too. That betrayal still hits me like a gut punch when I think about it. I trusted him with my time, my loyalty, and my friendship, and he turned around and did this. I keep replaying moments in my head, him laughing with me, us working together, the times he met my wife in passing, and now all of those memories are tainted. I don't understand how someone could do that to a person they called a friend. But as much as I hate him for what he did, my anger lies with my wife. She's the one who made a commitment to me. She's the one I built a life with. And she's the one who chose, time and time again, to betray me. I keep asking myself why I let it get this far. Why I gave her so many chances. I think part of me was afraid to start over. I convinced myself that I was staying for the kids, for the life we built, but the truth is, I was also staying because I didn't think I deserved better. That's changed now. I know I deserve more than a partner who lies and sneaks around behind my back. I know I deserve better than a marriage built on empty apologies and broken trust. This isn't the ending I wanted for my family, but it's the one I have. I'm choosing to focus on what comes next. I've started seeing a therapist, and I'm trying to work through the guilt, anger, and self-doubt that's been eating at me. It's helping, slowly. I'm also spending more time with my kids and making sure they know that no matter what, their dad is here for them. I'll never let them feel unloved or uncertain about where they stand. There are days when I feel like a failure, like I let my family down by not holding everything together. But then I remind myself that she is the one who broke it, not me. I'm just picking up the pieces now and trying to figure out how to move forward. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever trust someone again, or if I'll ever feel ready to let someone into my life. But I do know that this version of marriage, this lie we've been living, has to end. I can't keep sacrificing my peace and self-respect just to hold on to something that's already dead. For anyone reading this who's in a similar place, I'll say this: don't lose yourself trying to save someone who isn't willing to save themselves. Don't let fear of the unknown keep you in a situation where you're miserable. You're not weak for walking away, you're strong for choosing yourself, even when it hurts like hell. I don't regret the years I spent with my wife. I don't regret the family we built or the memories we made. But I do regret letting her treat me like this for so long. This chapter of my life is closing, and as terrifying as it is, I'm ready to turn the page. It is time to start over. It is time to rebuild, for me and my kids. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm choosing to walk away from a marriage that was killing me, and I'm finally choosing myself.